Welcome to Minds on Fire. It always seems impossible until it's done. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Do not judge me by my successes, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again. A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. I am not a saint unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps on trying. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. I like friends who have independent minds, because they tend to make you see problems from all angles. I dream of an Africa which is in peace with itself. Real leaders must be ready to sacrifice all for the freedom of their people. A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. One of the most difficult things is not to change society, but to change yourself. Lead from the back and let others believe they are in front. Our human compassion binds us the one to the other, not in pity or patronizingly, but as human beings who have learned how to turn our common suffering into hope for the future. I am fundamentally an optimist, whether that comes from nature or nurture, I cannot say. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed toward the sun, one's feet moving forward. Courageous people do not fear forgiving for the sake of peace. To deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy, then he becomes your partner. We can change the world and make it a better place. It is in your hands to make a difference. It is better to lead from behind and to put others in front, especially when you celebrate victory, when nice things occur. You take the front line when there is danger, then people will appreciate your leadership. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. In my country, we go to prison first and then become president. It is not the kings and generals that make history, but the masses of the people. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. A good leader can engage in a debate frankly and thoroughly, knowing that at the end he and the other side must be closer and thus emerge stronger. I detest racialism because I regard it as a barbaric thing, whether it comes from a black man or a white man. Money won't create success, the freedom to make it will. To be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. Do not let your past dictate who you are, but let it be a lesson that strengthens you to become better than you were yesterday. It is never my custom to use words lightly. If 27 years in prison have done anything to us, it was to use the silence of solitude to make us understand how precious words are and how real speech is in its impact on the way people live and die. Difficulties break some men but make others. No axe is sharp enough to cut the soul of a sinner who keeps on trying, one-armed, with the hope that he will rise even in the end. Action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming, but vision with action can change the world. There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged to find the ways in which you yourself have altered. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, that separates one person from another. Overcoming poverty is not a task of charity. It is an act of justice. Like slavery and apartheid, poverty is not natural, it is man-made, and it can be overcome and eradicated by the actions of human beings. There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. If you want the cooperation of humans around you, you must make them feel they are important, and you do that by being genuine and humble. When a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. The time is always right to do what is right. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones. There is no easy walk to freedom anywhere, and many of us will have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death again and again before we reach the mountaintop of our desires. No country can really develop unless its citizens are educated. I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way, but I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. Leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in your charge. Forgiveness liberates the soul. It removes fear. That is why it is such a powerful weapon. For every person who has ever lived, there has come at last a spring you will never see glory than in the springs that are yours. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love, for love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite.